Hello, welcome to Nakti by J.N.S. And I want to talk about cheap forgiveness from the black race and the obsession from society with seeing the display of cheap forgiveness in the face of domestic terrorism. So this video is sparked by several photos, sound bites, and speeches that I have been seeing over the years, but the final straw was seeing a black man kneel on the ground at the recent protests, and today is June 3rd, 2020, so it was a recent protest, and homeboy was on his knees in front of state-sanctioned officers, and he was pleading and telling them that he respects them and he forgives them. And guess what? They picked his ass up off that ground and threw him in jail. So I want to talk about how cheap forgiveness is dangerous and how forgiveness cannot be bought with a kneel to the ground and holding hands, and then now everything is all good. And this is a serious problem that I intend to elucidate on very heavily in this video because my heart is broken. I think that a lot of us have broken auras from a lot of the situational awareness that some of us have about this country. You know, so a lot of us, we feel a lot more burdened than others. Ignorance is bliss. So those of us who are completely aware of the intricacies of everything that takes place, we understand the multidimensional layers of what certain situations can mean. So when we see this kneeling, you know, the holding of the hands in solidarity, which actually you've been doing that for 60 years. When you think about it, you know, the marching on Selma, the marching in Alabama, and all this stuff. That little program has been going on. That mantra of we're gonna march in peace and peaceful protests and non-violence and all this stuff. We've been doing that. Our ancestors been doing that, you know, to no avail. Quite frankly. So, you know, we're gonna take a look one by one at all of these images. So I'm going to show you all of these photos of exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to show specific incidents of where forgiveness has been placed on the burden of the victims and where it was just offered up willingly, unsolicited by black people themselves. The danger of cheap forgiveness and how it shouldn't be bought with just these symbolic gestures, and what's in store, and some action items. Of course, we have to have some sort of solutions at the end. So let's get into some of the images that I'm talking about. So here we see, and this was recent, like this was like last week. Exhibit letter A. We see, you know, authority figure kneeling in solidarity with the people, and as you can see, the people, they have their heads down or either smiling, or everyone, you got the photo ops in the back, you know, and this sort of expression could be genuine or not. It's not the point, but all I'm saying is you're being rocked to sleep, or you're being rocked by the same program when these sort of images take place. So take a look at this one. As you can see, submissive protester knelt down to tell the police he loves and respects them. And guess what? They threw him in jail. As you can see, this man is unarmed, hands behind his back, willingly, blackmail, on the ground, telling the dominant infrastructure that he is in love with him. And they threw him in jail. And I'm telling you now, I don't know who raised this person. I don't know what possessed him to do this. But talking to the mothers now, if you got sons that are willing to do this, you want to start reflecting. Seriously, you want to start reflecting. And these men that do this kind of thing, because I notice the pictures in the situation I'm gonna show you is mostly black men. These type of things, you want to start walking away. You gotta tell your son, you can't come home. Don't come home. Don't call on me. We're done. Because this is ridiculous. And I know you guys don't think it's that serious, but when you let your whole bloodline down and a whole lineage of ancestors, a whole lineage of it's a big deal. It's a big deal whether you know it or not, whether you're ignorant of it or not. A system that has gone unchecked this long, and we have the bodies piled up, we have the blood that's been spilled, the blood that is on this soil. We talking about millions of dead black bodies. And yet and still you have these situations where the Stockholm syndrome kicks in, the fake symbolism, the fake gestures kick in, where we're going to march together, we're going to hold hands, we're going to cry, hug, and then it's business as usual. You get back to getting slapped up, hemmed up, back to getting racism thrown your way, back to the same shit you've been dealing with. You never ask for any tangibles. So this is where we're at now. And all I'm saying is be aware of these photos they want to make viral on purpose. For some reason, these are the images that's being thrown in my face. And for one, a lot of us are, this is a lot deeper. And nobody cares about no kneeling anymore and holding no hands anymore. I'm sorry, but nobody gives a shit about that anymore. And if they do, they out of their mind. And they don't need to be around us with that. Because I'm telling you now, I don't have kids, but if it was my own son, I would and I see my son doing this right here, kneeling down for no reason. Nobody told him to kneel down. If I raise a human being to willingly take his ass out there and kneel and submit like that, I would truly be embarrassed. I would feel like I had failed as a mother, and I would be having to atone so much on the spiritual side for this kind of foolishness. I really would. I would feel so ashamed as a mother. And a lot of that, let me move on. Here we go. Another display of submission. As we all know about the Botham Jean case, or Botham John as some people say. A lady claimed she was very, very tired, and that she did not know what apartment she went into when she haphazardly stumbled into the wrong apartment and opened fire on a black man, and killed him. Now, there were certain details that alluded to how this could have actually been done on purpose, because people were saying it's something about like the rugs were different, the locks were different. It was all types of stuff going on, with this situation. But what was so disturbing, she got 10 years for it or whatever. She goes in the wrong door, kills him, and guess what the family does? The brother of Botham Jean, again, without any solicitation, he goes out saying, he's crying, I forgive you. May I please give you a hug? With I don't know if people being paid on the back end. I'm not sure, like, how could anybody be that? And I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you some images, because maybe you forgot. And I'm not trying to traumatize you. But maybe, our people in the days and, they don't really know. I don't know. But, the willingness of this black male. So, of course, go and give this person a hug and say that they forgive them. So here we have 3 images that I'm showing you of this sort of display for the last 60 years, mind you. The sort of display where you either kneeling, where you either holding hands, you either hugging, you either standing, and not a damn thing changes. Okay? So as you can see, here is these photos. Here's another photo. Black male giving a hug to the police. Okay? No tangibles have been given. Nothing had, no apology on the books, nothing on the records, just willingly giving forgiveness, cheap forgiveness. And the obsession with the media to constantly display such a thing is quite alarming and of course disheartening, but it is clearly an agenda behind wanting the obsession to take these type of pictures and to display them all over the front news. So here we go. The traditional marching. Now here's a more updated version of such a march. But as you can see, we all hand in hand, acting like we love each other, acting like we're all one, when we know the fabric of this country is anything but. And this was about what? Let's see whose name is on these damn. Oh, is this for Philando Castile? Oh, when did that happen? Like 3 years ago? I believe, what, 1 or 2 years ago? So as you can see, we back here in what, 2020? And how many have we lost just in the span of 2020? Gruesome killings, walking up in people's house, shooting them 8 times while they sleeping, jogging, killing them, playing a video game. I think Tatiana Jefferson was what, playing a video game? Somebody cooking in the kitchen, boom, knocked in the head. Of course, George Floyd. So, what did his march do? I really want to know. Because you're doing the same thing again. And there's nothing wrong with getting that energy out and seeing where people stand. You know, everything has its place. But also techniques should not be used as strategy planning. Because they're two different things. These sort of modalities should not be enough of a band-aid or enough healing for anybody in this country. Let's be quite frank. So there we go. There's the updated 2.0 Black Lives Matter march. But let's go to the civil rights one. Let's look at that. Boom. The 1960s one. We March with Selma. This was a lot more African Americans, by the way, it looks like. But, you know, we have some solidarity. The same thing 60 years ago. So again, techniques and modalities are not actual strategy, and are certainly not solutions, certainly not tangibles. So when we see this sort of display, I don't know if this is a sort of subconscious acquiescence to the fact that there's a greater awareness on an unconscious level of how messed up our situation is, so we don't rock the boat enough. I'm really quite unsure as to why we've been doing this same exact thing for the last 60 years, but you know, that's beyond me. Actually, it's about what, 70? Let me see. It's about almost 80 years now. Actually, it's 80 years. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, about 80 years, you know. So, there we go. And then here we go. Here's a more updated one. This is last week. As you can see, this young lady is on the ground. She's kneeling. No one told her to kneel. Here is the bad guys, as we say. You know, here are some of the guys that have been the perpetuators of state-sanctioned violence against Black people. Of course, not all of these guys have participated in that, but I'm talking about the image, the representation, and you know. So let's not take it literal, but as we can see, young lady, Black woman. And here are some more cases of this unprovoked, and I don't know, again, I don't know if money is exchanging hands behind the scenes, because I know Black people, you know, I'm like, you don't forgive another Black person when they just take a little $5 or accidentally step on your shoe. But yet, when people take your family member's life or almost take your life, You out running in the cameras. I forgive. So this was the situation with the Karen Cooper lady, the Cooper lady, that went into that frantic rave about how someone was the black man was threatening her when that was just anything but, and he was recording it. He comes out and say, what does he say? Her life shouldn't have been messed up. I forgive. And once again, this is in 2020. This was what, 2 weeks ago? So once again, the cheap forgiveness. I'm making my point. I'm just giving the evidence now. The cheap forgiveness. This lady almost got this man killed. And then the history of just the image of it, just the optics of it is so dangerous. But does he get that? Of course not. Who cares about that? And I'm being sarcastic. But there was the same streamlined consciousness of you willing to forgive a historic wrong and continuous wrongs against your image and against your very life, and you're willing to forgive a group of people and a group of institutions that have never had any remorse for what they have done to you, for the wrongs they have done. So give me the logic in that. No Bible verses and none of that weird stuff. Give me the logic in I'm going to forgive someone who feels no remorse for the wrong they have done to me. Give me that logic right now. Think about it and give me that. So let's move on though. This poor young baby boy who initially in his heart said he ain't forgiven because he knew the ancestors speaking through him. And this was the incident where it was some weirdo white lady in Brooklyn, I want to say, that accused this young boy. See, I care about the young children. I don't care about really these grown-ass men. I really don't care about them. The children and the women, you're going to see me become a lot more passionate about. This young boy, child, was going to the corner store. His book bag had brushed against this lady's back. She says that she's calling the cops because he tried to sexually harass this weird ass projection that she put on this young child, that he was trying to sexually harass her and that he needs to be arrested. This boy was frantic. He was a child. He is a child. And she was wrong because the camera showed otherwise. Baby's boy's life was threatened because arresting is an attack on your child. Trying to get someone arrested for a wrong that they never committed is literally just heinous, and given the history of this country. So she's wrong. Nothing happens. When he did his first interview, he said, hell no. He said, this lady crazy. I don't forgive nothing. After mama talks to him, or whoever, as you can see in this video, he's crying. There's a tear in his eyes. And it looked like someone coached him to say this. But what did he say? I forgive her. She didn't mean it. Once again, cheap forgiveness. Who is sending these people out to do this stuff? Why is there this obsession with seeing the black person say they forgive? What are we forgiving? What are you forgiving? Who is paying? I get when I say my mind can't understand it, I cannot understand it. And it's not just me. It's not just me. A lot of us really be looking at the news and stuff, and we are we being punked, or are we in a twilight zone? Huh? So someone coached this young black boy to change his initial thought patterns that the ancestors gave him into saying that he forgives. Lord have mercy. And this was the big one. Remember these poor, innocent souls. God bless them. The Charleston 9 victims of the church massacre by Dylan Roof, I believe that was his name. So remember these people that had got shot up, dead as a doorknob. What did some of these family members, and I can't remember offhand which family members in the picture, and it doesn't really matter, but do y'all remember the interviews the next day I'll never forget. They had him on CNN. Even like it was like some of our scholars and intellects. They even had to come out and say, "Oh no, something ain't right with this." Yeah, I remember the very next day after it happened that they had interviewed some of the family members, and what was the first thing that came out their mouth? Come on, I know somebody can pull it up too. I forgive. We forgive him. Dylan Roof. That's what they were saying. That walked up in the house, walked up in the church, the house of God, with a gun. Remember, he was acting like he was getting saved, acting like he wanted to come to church. So of course, black people with their naive self, come on in, we got, hugging him and all that, worshipped with him, held his hand. This nigga pulled out a gun and knocked them all off. And what did the family members of these people do? Whew, good God. Whew, good God. What did they do? They said, I forgive. What are you forgiving? This dude felt no remorse for what he did to you. Matter of fact, let me get to that. I'm going to get to that now because y'all probably don't understand why I keep saying that. But I'm going to tell y'all something. I got to tell y'all this. I have to tell you something that God, him, and herself told me clear as day. They said, you got to tell your people this. You gotta get this information out because there are people that and it wasn't just, I'm talking about ancestors. When I say for years they had been telling me this, and I maybe I shouldn't have waited so long to actually get it out in the platform. I was gonna put it in I was gonna write a book and put it in the book, but I swear to you, they told me this. If y'all don't listen to nothing else I say, just don't even fucking pay attention to nothing else I say in this video, okay? They told me you never forgive someone who has no remorse or have shown you no remorse for the wrong they have done. That is very important because you're using that Bible and perverting the verses in that Bible to try to justify cheap forgiveness. And that is not the mandate of God and the mandate of the law of nature and the universal laws of the whole entire galaxy itself. That is not how it works, black people. That is not how it works. You don't sit up there and forgive nobody who has never shown you any remorse for nothing they have done to you. And you getting on your knees and you pleading and you telling these people you respect them, and they still taking your ass in jail and still shooting you up. Running up in your house now, shooting you up. And the only thing you can do is take your ass on camera and say how much you forgive. You are really creating and committing spiritual crimes that you have no idea of. Because you messing up karmic balance. You messing up the plea of the ancestors, and the ancestors continue to work with us and walk with us. You're doing a lot of shit that you don't know what you're doing. And you're actually, you think you're doing a godly thing, but come on. Because even in the Quran, what does it say? Doesn't it say forgiveness is good, but revenge is just as good? And I'm not saying nothing about no revenge. All I'm saying is that's one verse if you want to get technical, if you want to get all biblical and Abrahamic with it. But even in the Bible, you have plenty of references of righteous indignation, especially when Jesus went up in the temple, and called the, I want to say they weren't apostles. What were they called? The Pharisees. When he called the Pharisees out for their hypocrisy. Another instance is Confucius. Let me read to you what that says. And Confucius, I think he's about what? That philosophy is about 5,000 years old. Here we go. Good is not to be returned for evil. Evil is to be met simply with justice. This was Confucius. The master said, with what then will you recompense kindness? Recompense injury with justice, and recompense kindness with kindness. Okay. So a lot of you have said, so I'm getting deep with y'all because this is thousands of, everything that I'm saying is not new. This revelation that God gave me was to really put it very plainly, very, very succinctly. But, whew, and I'm going to give you one better. We always say, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Now they say that's a biblical proverb. That dates back actually to the 42 laws of Ma'at of the Egyptian era. And if we know that law, right? And if you know anything about Tahuti or Toph, or what the bastardized, let me not say that, but what the version that was taken out of Egypt and called the Greek version, the Hermes Trismegistus. Remember when he was talking about the laws of polarity, when he was giving out the laws of the universe, and that everything has its equal and opposite force. And when we talk about theoretical physics and physics, that for every reaction there is a reaction. And when you break down the science of the Bible, when it talks about do as to others what you will want them to do unto you, that's the one you love. That's the one blacks are using for all this forgiveness shit. That's the one you love to throw out there. Anybody that got some high science, high magic in them, what is the exact same definition of that and inverse of that is equally correct but on a different polarity? What is it? The equal definition of that on the opposite side of polarity that can be used in certain instances on the third dimensional rim, aka planet Earth, is do unto others as they have done unto you. So you got one where it's do unto others as you would want them to do unto you, and the other one is do unto others as they have done unto you. But you didn't get taught that. You only got taught about the other one. So all of these things you've been doing, this overcompensating of graciousness when it's completely unwarranted and quite foolish, because the first law of nature is preserve yourself, preserve your prana, self-preservation. So a species must always preserve their prana, their energy, their life force energy. And when you have people who perpetually do the same shit that has been being done unto you, Black America, for the last 400 years, and you can't think of another strategy but to forgive, there's something wrong there. There's either something messed up with the epigenetics, it's either Stockholm syndrome, it's either mind control programming that you might be under a spell or something. Something's just not right with that picture. I'm telling you. So when I say these things to you, I'm not saying, oh, go in your mind and go and do exactly what was done to you and try to, don't take it so literal. But all I'm saying is, stop it with the cheap forgiveness. You're not fooling no one, and everybody is cringing. For one, everybody know your tactics that don't work. That's why everybody get out there and march with you and clap their hands and get on their knees and kneel with you, because everybody know they ain't gonna do nothing. Okay, they gonna blow some steam and we gonna keep it moving. I'm not coming at you. I'm not coming at my people. I'm not, because I really have a big, wide open heart for you. I'm not gonna turn a blind eye to fuckery though. I'm not gonna turn a blind eye and act like I don't see bullshit when I see it. This kneeling on the ground, all this weird stuff, I don't understand it. And getting up there saying you forgive and all this weird stuff at one day after someone shoot you down and went and got Burger King and said they glad they did it. What are you forgiving him for? So let's continue with looking at more pictures, because I got more work for y'all. Y'all gonna get that work today. And I say this with love, I really do. So all I gotta say is, we gotta knock it out. The fake morality, you're not fooling no one. Because here's another thing. Y'all love to say, we so moral. It's because we so moral and we have so much morality in our blood, and that's why God is made us that way. That ain't motherfucking true. You know how I know it's not true? Because if you was that damn moral, you wouldn't treat each other the way you treat each other. That's how I know it's something deeper. It's self-hate. It's Stockholm. It's something else. But don't give me that bullshit about it's because we moral. Because if that's the case, why do the black man treat the black woman the way he do? How is he so moral? How is y'all so moral if these kids is not getting raised right? And y'all so quick to turn on each other and y'all hate each other. That's the part that get me. Ooh, that get me real good. I can't stand that. I don't understand that. Y'all don't rock for each other. I mean, here and there, we got pockets of us that do. Trust me, I'm one of them. We got pockets of us that love each other and want to see each other thrive. We check ourselves, you know. We don't get threatened when the next black person is got something going good for them. We want to see people going good for them because if one wins, we all win. But if you were so moral, why did y'all go up in that baby girl's house that was 20 years old who started her own hair salon on her own, going to college and working? She had a 9-to-5 job as well as her own business, and she got the loan, got her credit up, you know, did what she had to do to get her business. Why did y'all go up in that black woman's shop, steal all her hair weave, then come back days later and shoot her in the head in front of her kid? But y'all, that's the morality we talking about? That's what you gotta say to me when y'all gotta have an explanation for why you kneeling on the ground and stuff? Get real. And I can name 1,000 more incidents of the pure hatred you have shown for each other across the whole diaspora, by the way. So don't think I'm just coming at black Americans. So that's a smoke screen. That's a red herring. Because anybody that got some knowledge, they're gonna be able to dissect bullshit. So give me the reason why you think that this kneeling all of a sudden absolves this. How are you forgiving? How does a kneel on the ground from some white person all of a sudden means this is absolved? Give me your answer. And I'm not trying to be mean, because I you know, how does the kneeling, how does that kneeling absolve this? Black man, this is you. And I know you say, why are you showing that? That's going to traumatize me. Nigga, I've been traumatized. I've been seeing this shit my whole life. I'm a scholar. That's all I did was see this shit as a kid, looking at this stuff in history books. So I know if I will heal after this, because there's healing. But we gotta get into all facets of our humanity. You think that forgiveness is the only upright display of your humanity in the face of some bullshit being done to you, and no one is actually, justice has never been served? Do you know that you have a right to separate yourself, to avoid that person, to avoid the group, that the very people that's still doing the same shit to you? Do you not think that that's right either? Oh, you think that's ungodly? But you know how to avoid each other. You know how to get away from black folk. So get out of here. Look at this. So all of a sudden, y'all good now. All of a sudden, it's all good. I'm talking to the black man now, because you the one that's kneeling saying that you respect it. That gets rid of this. The marching on Selma means that this is now over. Okay. And we just got modern day versions of this picture right here, of this lynching right here. And I know you say, oh my gosh, why you show me that? That just, I ain't need to see that. You gonna see something today. Yeah. How did a kneel in a march absolve this baby boy who was killed at 14 years old, Emmett Till, as we know? Look at the light in his eyes, and look what the jealousy, the envy did to him afterwards. Look on the other side of it. No justice had been served, as we all know. How will you forgive that? What are you forgiving? What are you doing? How does a hug from Bothon Jean's killer absolve the bombing of Tulsa, Oklahoma by our government? Look at this. This was the most prosperous city in the country, a whole black-owned city. How did a march absolve this? How? Make it make sense. Do you know how many people died during this? This was a bombing that was thrown on these people. No reparations, nothing for these people. They didn't even give nobody no reparations, but they didn't even give these people nothing. And yet and still, a kneel in 2020 is all you need. A kneel and a handshake and a hug in 2020 is all you need to glee with joy of your forgiveness. Okay. How did a kneel absolve this? Y'all probably don't even know what this is. This Lake Lanier. Do you know that there is a whole city under Lake Lanier? A black city under Lake Lanier? Do you know that those people, all of their stuff got just drowned out? They just piled it on top. Look at this. Piled it on top. Boom. Because they wanted to build a lake for the white folks. So, whatever was there, oh well. They gave them a certain amount of time. I think they gave them about a week. Whoever didn't move, because some people, you know how blacks are, some of them weren't moving. Just like, some of them didn't move. Boom. The water comes. Okay. No recompense for that. Nothing. Yet and still, you kneel. Okay. How? Tell me, how does that absolve this and get rid of these sins that I'm showing you? How does a march? I'm not saying don't march. I'm saying the complacency that it bred within you, and the technique, the idea of using a technique and a modality as strategy planning and getting the two confused of what that meant. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that anybody that's out there doing nothing now in 2020 as far as these protests, I am not saying that is wrong. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you blow off the steam, you do a little kneeling and handshaking, the crying and the hugging. Everybody go back to business as usual. Boom. 1 year it might die down a bit. Then the next year, tons of racism, bunch of police brutality, bunch of bullshit. And I'm challenging you. This is the last frontier. Because 2019 was a lot of bondage got released on the other side. I know y'all don't like black people. You claim you're so spiritual. You really is completely lacking everything that's going on in the spiritual realm right now. I'm telling you. Some of us do know. Some of us do. But 2019 was a big year on the spiritual side for us. And 2020 was the reckoning. 2020 just came, boom, slamming in. So things are supposed to change, and they're going to. But you're still stuck in 1960, 1970 bullshit when 2019 was the last of the Mohegans. That was it. That was it for a lot of your way of life. For a lot of our way of life as we know it. 2020 came, boom. Of course the virus stuff hit, but on the spiritual side, everything was a lot deeper. As we know, this black hole got discovered, ozone hole in our way, all types of stuff, Venus moving and all this stuff, Saturn in conjunction with Pluto, or Pluto in conjunction with one of them, Saturn acting all up. This stuff is so deep, and it's affecting everything. So all I'm saying is in 2020, you better start to get the strategy planning now, because Your methods and techniques, I mean, you got that down packed. That's all I'm saying. You got the techniques down packed. All I'm saying is nothing has changed, because you're not moving from the next vibration. You're not moving to what's next, right? I mean, trust me. All of the rest of the society knows this. They playing you. Everybody knows that. Okay, we'll get out there. Okay, and let's hope it die down. Let's hope they don't get as mad next time, and let's hope they don't figure out nothing. Let's hope they don't ever wise up to that there's some more to be done, that you can't give cheap forgiveness, that you can't keep selling your people out, that you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, because that is the textbook definition of what? Insanity. So how does these things absolve this? There is your typical Ku Klux Klan with the cross. The terror symbol that most of our ancestors know. How does a kneel in New York City absolve this? Okay, pretty famous pick. How does it absolve this? Another famous Jim Crow pick. This is the Jim Crow days. We talking 1960s right here. Was that 60 years ago? Still the same old, same old. Look at Flint. If that's not the same old, I could prove it. Because all you're doing is this. You got a separate housing now. You got to go to the projects, or you go to the suburbs, and then the ones that get lucky, they think they get to go and move in. And we do have some nice areas, but I mean, let's be real. Your actual median income was more during segregation than it is now. Of course, your businesses were way higher. Marriage rates were extremely high. Home ownership extremely high. So, I mean, something's going on. Because you had various prosperous cities. You had Durham, Raleigh, Mount Bayou. Of course, we all know Tulsa. You had some blocks in Atlanta. Even some places in New York State were very good for you, that you were deciding to come. You were forced to build together. You had no choice. You did it, and you did it well. Okay, so that's another topic for another day, but let's keep it going, because I got more. How does this hug? Look at her. Oh, they I guess black men get it on this. They get it from their mothers. Oh, how does this in your heart make this okay? How does it make that okay? Or how do you forget? What's going on in your mind where you think that for the last 400 years you I don't know what's going on in the epigenetics. I'm completely perplexed. How did y'all wrap your minds to think that forgiveness could be given without any sort of recompense from society? Is all I'm saying. This was a big one. This was the 1980s. Bombing by our own government. This was the movement. This was basically a black group who just decided to buy up blocks and grow their own food. They were growing their own food and doing their homeschooling program. So they just had this whole curriculum, for black kids, and growing their own food and buying up all the blocks. Very prosperous. They just was doing their own thing. What happened? Bomb, because it was too successful. Other people around got jealous, started infiltrating and doing the tip of the same old. I mean, come on, what else is new? There you go, 1980s bombing. Okay, kids died as well, just so you know. Whew. Again, this is only the tip of the iceberg. I'm not really showing nothing. I'm not really showing anything that's deep. Trust me. This is just everything that pretty much everybody already knows, except for maybe the younger generation. So here goes another photo. Why was the first American city attacked from the air? Why was it? What was it? Okay, so that was Tulsa. You see that? Why was Mound Bayou? This is Mound Bayou, by the way. Completely destroyed. The pain of our ancestors, and the pain of our people, and the pain of your epigenetics that you seem to be in denial of and refuse to heal. It's a reckoning coming. And by that I mean the spiritual reckoning of where the reflection is on both sides. But for most importantly, I speak to the Black American, because I know that there is a lot of hurting that manifests itself into various forms, you know, and perhaps again the way you have like this cathartic display of forgiveness, it could be something there on a subconscious level that, you know, I just need to look deeper into, because I don't understand it. I don't. But maybe that's something I need to research more. I personally, from my spirit, I do think there is no excuse for that, regardless of the reason. But maybe I can have more understanding, you know, because that I don't understand. But I do know we need the healing, and no kneeling with no white folks, or kneeling to white folks, or having them kneel with you and holding their hand and hugging them and crying, marching, and do a little kumbaya session for a week or two. It's not gonna get it. That don't absolve this. That don't absolve this. This was a church bombing of these black girls got bombed, boom, bombed, dead in Birmingham, I want to say. Yeah, Birmingham church bombing. Yep. That don't absolve that. That don't absolve none of the shit you went through, I'm sorry, or your ancestors, that it still reverberates through your conscious cell memory, whether you could feel it or not. It just can't. So even we have the situation where George Floyd brother pleading for us to forgive and all this stuff. It's nonsense. Nothing can absolve this sort of terror besides a true, authentic, and genuine reflection within the deep crevices of the soul of the womb of this country, to really understand what has been done, what we need to do to move forward. Not the techniques that merely pacify the souls of the people. That's not gonna get it. I'm telling you, you either do it now or and you get a lot of worse. Because all I'm saying, my solutions, y'all gonna be like, oh, that's all y'all asking for? Okay. Okay. Because what's gonna come next is not gonna be not gonna be pretty. Because this is ridiculous. You don't do these to a people over and over again for 100 years. Put a band-aid on it. We go march. We go hold each other. Nothing changes. The fabric, and the people like to be in denial of it because they're guilty. Or this stuff is madness to me. My whole life I felt this and knew that everything was a fucking sham. And everybody looking at me like I got a chip on my shoulder when I'm like, is everybody sane? Why hasn't people decided to respectfully and mutually realize for 1,000 years, nobody has seemed to gotten along? Like, seriously. Like, honestly. And y'all could say, and cry and whine, because you always do, with your Stockholm Syndrome asses. If God came down here right now and said, look, it's been 1,000 years. Y'all haven't gotten along since. For some reason, the elements within the white race is completely hateful against the black race. And what we gonna do is we gonna make another planet Earth. Okay? And the ones We're gonna make multiple planet Earths for just everybody to just go to their respective freaking planet. How about that? How about that? And we just gonna end this shit now. God did that right now. I will be the first in line smoking to go to that planet. But something tell me in my soul that many of y'all black people will be crying and whining to stay up under a boot of oppression. And God will be like, because it will be optional, right? So God will be like, you ready to come? Let's make the move. Many of y'all will be fighting and whining, throwing rocks at God. That's how the brainwashing, the damage has been done. That's how much psychological trauma. This shit is deep and it's sick. And now is God getting involved. I'm telling you. You think that little scenario I'm talking about is just a joke? Keep playing. Because now the spirits is involved now. It's above you. Y'all, you know that little meme that we was laughing at? It's above me now. It's above you. I'm telling you. It's above all of us. So the little mind control programming that you're under, where they show you these pictures and then, you know, they show you the photo ops and the spells being done on your melanin and all this weird stuff going on, that's done. Like, something gotta give. It's ridiculous. So I want to show you the last photo of this guy right here. This man is named Cujo Lewis. Look at his eyes. Assess his energy. Don't fret. Don't bitch up now. This is our ancestor. Let's look in his eyes. Look at his mouth area. And look at the wrinkles in his face. Now, who is this man? Do any of you know? Do any of you know who this is? Do you know that this is the last living soul from the slave ship? He was the last slave who was brought over on a slave ship that was a legal slave ship. And he was on that ship that got brought here to America. Yeah, of course, he was brought here as a slave. This was like in the late 1800s. And of course, he lived long. So this is like the 1900s now. I think this is like 1930. And as you can see, look at the pain in his eyes. This is the last living one. If I could have found the black woman, I'd put her up there too. But there was no... By 1930, like, most of the black people that had been over here, they had been over here for generations, and they did not come on no boat. So they didn't remember. So that's why I'm showing him, because the other ones, they didn't remember being on that boat because they were born here. This dude remember being on that boat. Cujo Lewis. And look up his story. He got a book out because they did interviews with him and stuff, and got him in, like, the Library of Congress and all types of stuff. So as we assessed our ancestors, and if this is the last living one, we know there was millions more, right? So how dare we? Now, there's nothing has been done for the pain in his eyes. They say the eyes is the window to the soul, right? Can't you see that pain? I cannot pull up 1,000 pictures of black people from the 1800s and we see the same look in their eyes, right? Come on. The spirits are literally coming out of this ground. Like, I'm telling you, like, 2020 is no joke. Y'all all know it. Y'all all know 2020 ain't been no joke. But I always say, there is always lessons to be learned, lessons to be had. 2020 is still a beautiful year for many of us. Because it's an extremely spiritual year. And all I'm saying is, the cheap forgiveness, that's a wrap. That gotta go. It's not right. It's not godly. It's not as godly as you think it is. It really is not. It's quite embarrassing. And they always send you the puppets. They come out. They always coach black people to forgive and be, be peaceful in the face of domestic terror and genocide. You blow off your steam and, you still get disrespected and you still stay on the bottom. Okay? The media emphasizes peace. They show this stuff. It's like an obsession. What's up with this obsession with keeping black people calm when y'all keep fucking with us and provoking us? How can you have peace when this country has never admitted or apologized for its wrongdoing? How can we have peace when we never even received anything that was promised in the Emancipation Proclamation? Government sanctioned documents. The psychology of the disrespect towards the black race stems from our willingness to just take disrespect. Think of the schoolyard kid. The schoolyard days, right? You have the two kids, one white, one black. Okay, so let's just picture the scenario and walk with me. White kid takes the black kid's bike. Okay, you know, if the other kids watching, the Latino kid, the Hispanic kid, everybody watching, right? So the black kid knows that his bike was taken. He's a little bit mad about it. Okay, the white kid is running around with his bike all over the schoolyard. Got his bike. Hey, we out here. And as soon as the white kid come to drop the bike off, right? The black person says, "Hey, you stole my bike." So everybody come crowding around to see, it's about to be, it's about to be something going on, something about to pop off. You stole my bike. The white kid looks at him, says, "Oh, okay. What are you gonna do?" Okay, nothing happens. The next day, the white kid he goes and get that same bike, rides it around again. The black kid says, "Hey, you stole my bike." By this time, the white kid get like, "Okay, you ain't do nothing yesterday. Shit, I mean, I'm gonna keep taking it. If you don't do nothing, I'm gonna keep taking it. Duh." And then everybody else watching, the disrespect gets bigger because it's like, you disrespecting yourself. You disrespecting God. You're not gonna get justice and get your bike back. The white kid, the third day happens. Right? So now they at home, right? It's the weekend. Imagine it's the weekend. White kid still got the black kid's bike. They go outside. They live on the same block. They come outside. Black kid sees him. "Hey, you stole my bike." White kid gets on the bike. He's still riding around the neighborhood. The black person still, you just talking. You stole my bike. So, like, who cares? Like, after a while, people looking like, okay, he ain't gonna do nothing. Let's see what else we can take. What else can we do? What else? Because he ain't doing nothing about the bike. So let's see. Maybe he got a football up in there. Maybe he got a soccer. Maybe he got, a basketball. Let's see what else he got that we can take. Because he sure ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing. And every day, the white person is just looking at him like, the white kid is just looking at him like, okay, I got your bike and I'm riding around you. Now I'm expecting you with your bike that I took. And ain't shit you gonna do about it now. Because now the whole block is hot and now everybody is on the kid's side because the white kid's side, because he sort of have asserted this dominance. And the only reason why the black kid don't have nobody really respecting him is solely because he never even tried to get his bike back. He never even had a standoff and said, "I want my bike, give me my shit back, give it to me," or make a strategy to go and get his bike back. Why the little kid, he ain't think of, well, what can I do to go get my bike? Or let me go and even get some other people on my side to go get my bike. You have done that. This is the same schoolyard shit. The psychology of the disrespect of black people stems from schoolyard micro level shit. Y'all humans and y'all think like y'all really running shit, right? So everybody on planet Earth, they think they big shit. They think the world centers around them. And God, like, this is, imagine being a God and you looking at this stuff. This is what it looks like in God's eyes. And I know you're saying you have the karmic thing. Yeah, there's some karmic retribution that builds up because the energy you give out is the energy you get back. That is actually true. Okay. But as we also know, people can do things to stall energy. People can do things to stall karma. They really can. You have no idea. People can Jedi mind trick you. People can do air bending type shit to get energy back, to push things back. Now eventually it do come back, but what about how long can they do it? What if they had been doing air bending shit for the last 400 years on you? So I give you that micro level analogy to so you can see that on the universe, that's how y'all humans look right now. It's just like kids on a schoolyard with fights. And no, I'm not making slavery on that level. Trust me, I'm not. I'm just saying that I'm just giving so that you can see when you're in school, because you can actually absorb it better as a parable. You could absorb it better when I break it down this way versus when I say bring it into other levels, because there's too much convolutance there. So that's why I made it really simple. So you want to just be more cautious about dissipating your energy in this. You want to just be, if I'm going to do the marching, I better have me some sort of manifestos on lock. I better start writing out some petitions and some manifestos and some sort of things that you want to see passed in Congress. You want to, there's certain things we can do, right? You want to start seeing what kind of what's that stuff called? Lobbying. You want to start looking at what kind of causes you can lobby that specifically for Black Americans. Okay, there's different things, and my thing is, why do you have Black people? Why do you have an obsession to integrate with such hatred? I really, that's what I really want to know. Because I could show you some photos that are so disturbing. Like, say, like these photos right here. Like, this is when the Black girls were going into the school. They were the first integrators into the school, right? And they needed, like, the military to escort them just to go to an integrated school with white people. So this was the first time that was ever being done. Can you look at the background of these people's faces? Look at the sheer terror in these white people's faces of just one tiny Black girl going to a damn school. Like, if y'all don't see that is strange. I've seen that look in people's faces to this day, and I've seen white people still look at me like that, and look at other Black people like that. Like, y'all don't get it. Like, this is something psychological. Like, the spirits is out now. Pandora's box cannot be closed, and I'm telling you, this is not going to go the way you think. So y'all better start absorbing the process of healing, the process of getting in tune with your ancestors, the process of understanding your knowledge and your history, so that you can truly heal and embrace who you are, so you don't ever have to think that you gotta even really be on that nonsense of every time somebody asks you, do you forget? And everybody is obsessed with seeing you say, yeah, I forgive. And you go and going to give a hug and cry and stuff. You got to know yourself, because that's ridiculous. Why would you want to be around or near people who look like this and behave like this? They were like, look at their faces. What was it inside Black people that wanted so badly to be around this and appeal to the moral consciousness of a people that look like this? The hatred in their eyes is so palpable. I don't understand how anyone can be so docile and see nothing wrong with it. I would have seen it. Like, when I've seen people that look like at me like that in school or just around the block, I never ever 10 feet near them looking at me like that. Like, this is severe hatred, and I don't know why you cannot see that in their eyes. Like, we at the last frontier, so we gonna see who really changed and what, folks, because there's gonna be some people that can raise their consciousness above all of this. They can. Blacks and whites, they can. We about to see. Everybody gonna have to put up and shut up, or else you're not on 5D, you're out of here. And I'm not gonna get into all that right now. So we're going to see who really about that life on ascending their consciousness, who's truly going to become enlightened. Okay? Because all of this shit, y'all really need to grow up from all of this. And I'm talking to the whole planet. All of this forgiveness. Black men, you're leading the chart. I'm showing the videos of you kneeling and all this. And pictures of it. Come on. Okay? Now that I've calmed down, let's bring it on down. And let's talk about some solutions. And please there's so many things going out now, because nothing can really bring back our ancestors, obviously. Nothing can change what's been done. We all know that. And no one's trying to rehatch it or reciprocate it. Let's be real. A lot of us is not on that level. As pissed as I am, I don't think like that. My mind, come on, like, we should be more advanced than this. And this is why you're having a lot of issues that you're having on planet Earth, because you're refusing to ascend your consciousness. Planet Earth is literally tilting a little. It's not even on the same axis that it once was anymore. It done shifted a little. Time has sped up a bit. Okay? So let's get it together. And I'm mainly talking about, for one, black people gotta heal within themselves. We ain't got no time to be forgiving nobody, and we haven't even forgiven ourselves. That's why you hate each other so much, and you always fucking each other over. You haven't forgiven each other from the crimes we committed by selling people in Africa, by the black man overthrowing the Queen Mothership to make deals with the Portuguese, the Dutch, and the British, and the Arabs, because I can break that history down too, and we're going to do many videos on that. Once the patrilineal society from the European aspect saw that it was more of a Queen Mothership going on, they had no reckonance about that. So they said, well, we're not talking to no female elders and no Queen Mothers, and all that. We just want to do it with the men. And that's when the men said, Queen Mothers are gone. Boom, we're all in slavery. We're all we're all colonized. I'm telling you, you went against your ancestors then. You went against your own sacred knowledge. You gave away all of your... that's another video. I'm not going to get into that because I got to wrap this up. We haven't forgiven ourselves. A lot of the things that... our contribution to how we got in this situation. And we do a good job of just saying, oh, it was white folks that came in them ships and it was white people that did. Well, they came in them ships and they did it. They did it. I'm telling you, it ain't go down like that. We hide it on purpose. I don't read the stuff I read, man. I'm like, whew, I was hot. So that's why you always see me like, it sounds like I'm being so hard on black people, because I know the power, for one, I know the power we possess, spiritual power, ancestral power. I know you are on a whole nother level. You don't know it yourself. So that's one reason why I'm like that. But then I know that we contributed to a lot of, we burying that history, but it's out there for those who really want to look. Because it was one mistake that we made. It wasn't like we made plenty of mistakes, but it was one mistake that we made that cost us dearly for the rest of our existence as of today, right? We don't need to be worrying about forgiving other people, and we need to forgive ourselves. We need to heal ourselves. We need to focus on self-sufficiency. We need to focus on self-determination, our own, building up our own knowledge base, our own spiritual base back up. We need to focus on healing. True healing. Not no going to church, clap your hands, get a little tied to the pastor and take your ass home and eat some Sunday dinner. Not that type of stuff. Deep soul inner engineering. Deep integration of our unconscious mind with our conscious mind. Deep cleansing of our epigenetics and ancestral energies that are affecting our very lives in 2020. So what are the solutions? To be frank, we need some money. Yes, indeed. Because there is a debt that is due from the Emancipation Proclamation that had never got paid. It never got paid. So, we have calculated what the cost of those said items would be in today's time. And for a mule, it's about $15,000 today. So the mule is $15,000. And as far as the 40 acres, that ranges from $20,000 to $100,000. 40 acres is a lot more than that now, but I'm thinking 40 acres for 40 million people would be the whole entire country. So we will probably need to settle on 1 to 2 acres of land, and that could range from 20,000, depending on where you're at in the country, to 100,000. But we would need to actually have a concrete number for that. So instead of saying 40 acres, we would just put land grant, some sort of land, or even check. Because again, with the $15,000 for a mule, how many of y'all are going to actually buy a mule? Me personally, I'm getting my mule. That's just me. I already picked it out. It's a black one. It's really pretty. And I already saw it. Many of us have been picking out our mules and preparing, because this debt must be paid. So again, we looking at around about 50,000 a piece. However y'all want to do it, because we all now have gotten this stimulus check. Stimulus check was $1,200. You see how quick they printed out that money? It was nothing. It just came out of thin air. So something tell me, y'all can do that. You can do some other monthly payments. Okay? And at this point, it's the pandemic right now. It's the perfect time to do it, because everybody gets a check. But then black people get in their reparations, and then nobody, because we get so much hatred, everybody's so jealous and stuff, they will get mad that black people get in reparations. So if everybody getting something, because people actually need money for the pandemic, it will get nobody will really be paying attention, because everybody will be getting a check, because everybody's supposed to be getting $2,000 anyways a month. Now I know that sounds like, oh, that is so entitled, but people out here are really suffering and stalling or whatever. So $2,000 a month, and then hurry up and usher in our little package on the side, and boom. So we need very specific tangibles for black Americans who have foundational blood ties to the land of in America. That means 400 years back, 1866 census, and ancestral. Come on, let's just use our common sense. We know who's been in this country through the last names, through this census, through do you know that there's slave letters in the Library of Congress? Everybody's acting like we don't know who been here and all this stuff. That's BS. Okay? Because we can find, and a lot of the reason why them slave letters are hidden, because believe it or not, if black people were on a plantation, and this is why I need black people to understand and just use their common sense. If you were on a plantation, if your ancestors were on a plantation, right? The owner of that plantation was most likely extremely wealthy. And guess what? They're most likely extremely wealthy today. And as you know, most of us, 95% of the black race is MGM. That means that through all of that raping, our blood ties are obviously African ancestry, but we still have ancestry to those people that enslaved us. So that's why all that stuff is hidden, and they be having these books still of all of our names in these books, of our ancestors in these books with their last name. And a lot of again, some of us were actually native to this land. The Melungeon people were actually native to the land, and then you got people from Jamaica who actually got on a boat and got shipped here during it was weird stuff going on with the Caribbean and America, dating back to the 1800s. So you have that stuff too. But 95%, for all you know, the reason why they done covered up a lot of this stuff is because all this wealth you literally a blood descendant of. A lot of our banks, as we know, got started off of this money, off of our labor, and we built this country, and no one can deny that. Black Americans built this country. When we got over here, there was wilderness. There was nothing built. So we need to stop playing these games, and we need that money. So and it's never going to make that right. But as far as the systematic disenfranchisement that had been going on, the redlining and all this stuff that was being done to us, the literal bombings of black cities, I think that some of us can stand to get some money. And another option is, that's just something I'm throwing at the table. Of course, on top of this, there would be a nationwide apology from the federal government with initiative to right the wrong. So that will already be on the books. But then another one is a return to soul blueprint. So what does that mean? Some of us don't feel quite comfortable here. Some of us we feel abused. And I know that a lot of black people, they shame other black Americans that just want to go back to Africa. I don't see why there's any shame in that. I don't see either way. Like, I don't see for people who want to stay here, for people that want to go back. Like, why? Like, what's it to anybody? It's their business. So I do think that there needs to be a return to soul blueprint for some of us. There will be citizens who will want to go back, and I think they should get a one-time pay settlement to go back. And they will not renounce their citizenship. They would most likely pay U.S. taxes, because it will be an initiative that states that the government recognizes that it would take decades to rid the U.S. of racism, right? It will take decades. From 2020, mind you. So they will need to fund African Americans who want to live in their ancestors' land. It's as simple as that. And blacks are constantly stressed. You're having all this hypertension. You're having all this crap in the workplace. You don't feel protected. I don't feel protected. Some of us will be some of those that be like, I'm out with our money. That could be another program. And another initiative is affirmative policing. So what is affirmative policing? This is where communities have police officers who look like them. It's as simple as that. And that you can say, oh, that's so radical, and we need diversity and multiculturalism. That's all fake. That's all some weird social engineering stuff, because it hasn't worked, and I don't think it's ever going to work. So for instance, in the black community, you will obviously have black officers who are foundational black Americans. For those who are first generation immigrants, or like first or actual immigrants who African immigrants who are able to become police officers, the ratio would need to be the ratio of foundational black Americans to foreign black immigrants would need to be significantly higher, obviously. And because that's another Jedi mind trick, where they'll get like all of these African immigrants who hate African Americans to police us, and then this stuff just keeps happening. And they are very much toxic rifts and stuff in that regard. So that's why it would be very important for us to emphasize that it would need to be American blacks who have descended of slavery within the last 400 years in this country. So then you have this affirmative policing, where, again, in the Asian community, you'll have Asians. The white community, you have white officers. Latino community, you have Latino officers, and etc., etc. And that can be an active initiative for this country to right its wrongs. Not just no kneeling and all this stuff. That is going to need to be more radical things done. And that to me doesn't sound like that big of a deal. But if you would say like, oh, we can all just get along. You haven't been getting along. For that 1,000 years there, you have never gotten along together. So we all need to grow up and be mature about this situation and realize people like things that look like them. Maybe except for, I mean, I don't know, black people, I don't know what y'all doing. But for the most part, you have a evolutionary psychological predisposition to like things that remind you of yourself. Okay, at least you're supposed to. So many of us we want our own people policing us. Of course, there would be training on, we would need to get rid of the whole idea of the brutality part of it, and even maybe even the weapons, all that stuff, and certain community policing where crimes are deterred significantly through just the community. You know, those are all things to be thought out. Plenty of things to be thought out. I do know that we need to get to work, because it's draining and it's ridiculous. And the whole crux of the video is to not give cheap forgiveness. And what was the one thing? What was the one thing that I said? What was the one thing that I said to never ever forget if you don't listen to nothing else in this video? Because I swear to you, I will not lie to you, this came from God. You never forgive someone who has no remorse or shown you no remorse for the wrong they have done to you. So as you continue in your protesting, which I think is beautiful, I see nothing wrong with that. As you're continuing to do the things that you are doing to fight for justice and to recompense injury with justice, please keep that in mind. Do not get out there crying, dancing, kneeling. We gotta dance, and gotta show white folks you can dance and all this stuff in the middle of getting your head blown off and all this stuff that you're doing to kind of assuage and pacify the energy. That's not gonna work anymore. The ancestors it's above all of us now, I'm telling you. Ain't no gonna be no more Jedi mind tricks and tricking black folk and get to get in line and all this stuff, and black people ain't gonna be able to kneel their way out of it and cry and forgive their way out of this, because this is some karmic retribution coming back on our asses. And those who can get in line with the energy and the frequency, y'all will be fine. And I'm talking about all humans. Y'all will be fine. Don't worry about it. Stop feeling guilty. Everybody got to forgive themselves and heal. But for those who want to keep the shenanigans, when this earth is shifting like the way it's shifting, and these spirits are acting up the way they acting up, okay, let me know how that work out. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. No more cheap forgiveness, black people. You know who you are. You need to act like it. You need to stand in your truth, because the ancestors are waking you up as well. And you need to really know who you are. It is so important. It is such a beauty in knowing who you are and embracing who you are. Okay? So never forgive someone who has no remorse for what they have done to you. And I'm going to talk to you later. Bye.